Well, would you look at that? Just look at it. Welcome to Dirt, Sweat, and Gears, also known as Car Hoarders Anonymous, where you can't fall off the wagon if you never get on. We are here with my latest acquisition, a 1976 Camaro Rally Sport, and not just any 1976 Camaro Rally Sport. This one is very, very, very special. And not just because it is a special trim level, not because it is a special edition, which it is. This car is special because it is my grandmother's car. There's just one problem. I have 8 cars. I have 8 cars. Now, getting this car is one hell of a story. So why don't they just go pick up the camera? We're going to start walking around the car, and I'm going to tell this story as we walk around this thing. Now, if you remember from some videos I did over the past years, I had a series called Upgrade and Trade. And the idea was that I was going to do work for this guy. His name is Craig. And in return, I was going to get my grandma's Camaro. This is it. Craig made good on his offer. And I'm very, very grateful to Craig. What he did is an amazing thing. And now I am the proud owner of this very, very broken, but very special car. So like I said, this is a 1976 Camaro Rally Sport. This is fully optioned. This was top of the line of its time. It has air conditioning. It has a 350 engine. It had a special paint job. I actually need to research more into that, into what this specific color scheme was about. I do know that it's very, very rare. This car also came optioned from the factory. I believe this was a dealer option, but this car originally came with side pipes. And you don't see side pipes on here right now. I'm assuming that either Craig or someone else who owned it throughout the years had removed the side pipes because they got tired of burning their leg. That was a very, very common thing with me and my brother and my mom when I was young. We all knew about the side pipes because we all burned our legs on this car. I'm struggling to find words because of just what the history, my history is with this car. I don't really have a huge attachment or a personal history with it because I was very, very young when my grandma got rid of this car. But my grandma would always tell me stories about this car. She loved this thing, and she was very, very sad that it disappeared and had no idea. I mean, we had no idea where it was. We had no idea where this car was after she got gave it to my dad. My dad sold it to Craig, and it kind of just fell off the radar from there. You're probably wondering, how did I find out about this car's existence after all these years? Well, see, my grandma died in 2021, and my dad died in 2022. And when my dad died, I had decided to throw a celebration for him, just to celebrate his life. And I invited all of his old friends and everyone I could think of. And we went down to the park and we had a really cool little celebration. You see, his group of friends back in the day would always do a May Day party. You know, full-on maypole pagan holiday thing. Like, I actually brought my Norwegian friend, and he was like really blown away at how into it they are. It was a very cool, beautiful celebration, and Craig was there. And so Craig was, you know, really moved by the loss of his, you know, former best friend. So a few weeks after the party, he rolls up to my house on his motorcycle. He's got like a 78 Harley or something like that. I mean, this thing was just a beast. He rolls up on this motorcycle. He says, "Hey, hop on your bike and follow me." And so I hop on my electric motorcycle, which is parked in the garage there. And I'm following this guy, yeah, up the street And it's really just up the street, around the corner, you know, 2-3 blocks that way. And we roll up to this house, and it's one of his houses. Actually, it's like his, I think his dad owns it or something. And so I park out front, and you know, there's another biker there checking out my electric motorcycle, and they were asking questions and kind of shooting the shit and everything. And then he says, "Here, come follow me." And so I'm following this guy around, you know, this house I don't know, with a bunch of Harley riders. And I'm like going, okay, well, what's going to happen when I come around this corner? Well, I come around this corner and this car is there. I didn't take pictures or video or anything like that as much as I wanted to. It just was, I wanted to respect their privacy. So I did not really take any photos. I took some close-up photos of the car while I was on the property, but I kept everything out of view just because, just out of respect for these people, you know, who they are, where they live. And there's the car. There is this car. And, you know, I knew exactly what I was looking at. But to be sure, I walked around, and what really gave it away was that bumper sticker. Because I have a picture of my brother at about 4 years old on his big wheels next to the back of this car, and you see this bumper sticker, I Heart Pavarotti, right next to him. And that's when I knew for sure this was the car. This was my grandmother's car. Of course, Craig says, to my surprise, he says, "I want you to have this car." And I was like, you know, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, well, obviously he wants some favors in return, but he wanted to give it to me. And so after I got his truck and his Accord fixed up, I kind of, you know, started working on the garage, and I wasn't able to really help him out for a while, just because it's been chaos here. So a couple of days ago, he tries to call me, and I was working on the Prelude. I had the phone inside the car, and I was underneath the car, so I didn't pick up. And then he just shows up at my house. He says, you know, I need help with something. And I'm going, oh no, what now? And he says, I want you to help unbury the Camaro because I need to get rid of it. And I was like, wait, what? And so, needless to say, plans changed. And so this car was buried behind a bunch of crap, and spent, what, Friday, Saturday, moving all that crap. You know, back half of Friday because I had to work during the day, and then most of Saturday and Sunday. We got it free. I had to unlock the steering, which meant I had to take the steering wheel off and take the lock mechanism out. And then today, we just towed it over this morning. And now it's here. So let's take a tour of this thing because we've been walking around and talking about it. And to talk about its current condition, because as you can see, it's rough. In fact, it probably looks a lot better on camera than it does in person. So let's just start right here in the back. Luckily, everything, just about everything is here, and it's in mostly good shape. You see some cracks in the reverse lights, but overall, this I don't think is that big of a deal. At least we can find a replacement for that. And then some of the plastic behind the bumper is really degrading. It's just falling apart to the touch. You just barely even look at it wrong and it crumbles. That's probably going to have to be replaced. The bumper itself is in great shape. The chrome is in good shape. This piece, this aluminum trim piece, is awesome. Really, really cool. I have no way of getting in the trunk because we don't have a key to this car. So I have no idea what surprises await in there. I probably don't want to know. Moving along this side of the car, we see most of the paint is good. Obviously, it's going to need touch-ups and probably an entire respray, but we don't see a lot of rust. Even in the wheel wells, there's some little minor surface rust here, pretty much all in the spots where you'd expect it. but there's no, you know, major corrosion or body rot. So very lucky in terms of rust. You see the big Rally Sport badge across the side here. It's just a graphic. And then there's a bunch of leaves in here, so there's some rust here. I'd be really interested to clean that out and see what's behind it. And by really interested, I mean I'm probably going to be horrified and disgusted. Up front, we have our turn signals, all of the lights. You know, all of the hard to find pieces are there. It's just the little details. You know, we've got some denting in the hood. That can all be fixed up. The badge, that's obviously, I'll be able to get a new one real easy. The grill is, it has some missing pieces to it. I could probably just get a reproduction grill. I'm sure that's not big of a deal. But the bumper is in great shape. Everything is in great shape. I do have the original front wheels. They're over there by the TR7. You see the paint is pretty much gone, at least this color here. So real quickly about this color. So this is supposed to be white. This is supposed to be a red stripe. And this is supposed to be like a midnight blue. So obviously this is going to have to be repainted, but I fully intend to keep its original color scheme. In fact, this looks to be not paint right here. This may even be like a pinstripe or a vinyl or something. And interestingly enough, on this side, we don't have a Rally Sport. We have a Camaro badge. So I don't know if it's actually supposed to be like that. If you know a lot about Camaro trivia, definitely leave a comment and let me know what trim pieces am I missing. And it's pretty obvious I'm missing the door bumpers on both sides because you see the line here. There's probably, I think there's supposed to be a piece of rubber trim that runs all along here and then ends at the back here. That's missing, but I don't think that's going to be too hard to replace. The wheels can be fixed up. It looks like there's a center cap that is missing. I'll have to find a reproduction of that. Now all the glass is there, all of the glass trim. The trim around the glass is there. You see a little bit of rust up here, and hopefully I can, hopefully it's not that bad. I know rust tends to be worse once you start to sand it. But let's go inside the car because that's where it gets really bad. Quick note, this car has been sitting just like this with the window down since the early 90s. And, well, would you look at that? Just look at it. I mean, you see that, and you just want to say, would you look at that? Just look at it. Yeah, it's really bad. The door card is in the back seat. I'm not even going to look back there for a minute. I don't need that negativity in my life. It is, the door is filled with leaves and craps, and there's a spark plug in there, and there's probably a bunch of rat droppings, and it's a horror show in here. It really is kind of worst case scenario inside this car. The seat's completely gone. There's, you know, the back to it. I don't even know if that's worth saving. The carpet is definitely not worth saving. Steering wheel's a pretty shot. It's like melted. The dashboard's all cracked. All of the accessories are there though. That's kind of nice. The radio's missing. That sucks. There's a little skull in place of where the knob should be. Looks like the HVAC control, one of the switches is broken for the fan control. Everything else up top, the gauge cluster looks okay. I have no idea if any of the gauges work. I'm going to assume no. This came with power windows, and I'm going to assume that they don't work because why else would the door be in this condition? And again, like I'm going to have to, I'm not looking forward to this. Honestly, I'm not looking forward to this at all. And back here we've got what you would expect. Beer bottles, trash, a couple of fire extinguishers that neither which I assume work. The rear seats probably gone. I was gonna say maybe could be reupholstered, but oh boy, it's rough. Really, really, really bad. The passenger door, let's see if that opens. It doesn't really like it. So that's as far as we're gonna go here. Oh boy, would you look at that? Would you just look at it? It's pretty much an extension of the front seat. It's a disaster. Door pulls are broken. I expect that. The little tops to the locks are missing. The door card looks like it can be saved though. Overall, that could be saved. These little trim pieces down here. Well, that's interesting. Body fissure. All of the little chrome trim pieces, like those are in good shape. Obviously the weather stripping is completely gone. So let's open the hood and see what lies underneath. Oh boy. So under the hood, we have a factory 350 Chevy engine. So this car was top of the line, like I said. It was a factory 350 built here in Van Nuys. I ran the VIN and, you know, LT 350 built in Van Nuys with air conditioning. This was the top of the line. This is the best you could get in 1976. Built in, according to the VIN, built in August of 1975. Very, very cool. Huge motor, and it is just covered in crap. Just, I mean, I'm gonna have to take a leaf blower to this, and I'm gonna have to wear a jumpsuit and a respirator and eye protection and ear protection, and there's just no amount of cleaning that will not make this gross. It's all gonna have to come out and you know, be cleaned up and restored piece by piece. Obviously all of the plastic is broken. You see the overflow tank completely broken because plastic. All of the rubber is no good. Everything you touch here is going to be just falling apart. Vacuum lines probably all gone. But the important stuff doesn't look half bad. I'm sure I just need to clean it up, replace gaskets, and you know, distributor cap, rotor, that sort of thing. Hopefully the electronics aren't all chewed up. Hopefully the wires are intact. The brake cylinder, I'm probably gonna have to replace the brake cylinder and the brake lines at the very least. Really, aside from all the debris from decades of being under a tree and having rodents in it, all of it's there. And really the important stuff, like you see here, this is the AC compressor, the alternator, water pump. It's all there, which means if I just clean it up and you know, replace all of the rubber stuff, I could probably get this thing running. You know, obviously I've got a lot of work before I can even begin to start this thing. I got a lot of work. Oh my God. I got a lot of work. Let's try to look underneath the car. It's getting a little dark. Oh, no, that's not happening. We're gonna have to do that discovery another time once we get this thing up on jack stands. I have it here because, well, I ran out of energy. I wanted to get it up here. The tow truck driver was good enough to help me get it this far, but I ran out of strength, and so I just could not push it any farther. It's been a long day. It's been a long weekend, and it was all worth it. It all paid off. So everyone tells me that I should name this car after my grandma since it was her car, but I'm thinking I want to save that honor for when the car is on the road and it's in much better shape than this. In the meantime, we're going to call it the Pavarotti. So I gotta say, because this is such a special car, it is actually worth restoring and really doing a proper restoration. And that means stripping it completely down and rebuilding it from the shell out. And that makes it the biggest project that I have out of all of my 8 vehicles. You see, even the Studebaker being in probably worse condition overall, meaning that it has none of its uh, uh, accent pieces or really anything other than the body, the engine, and a couple of suspension pieces, it's not worth restoring, and I had no intention of restoring it. I just wanted to make it a really cool truck. The TR7 in no condition is worth restoring, so I have never intended to restore that. The TR7 is going to be where I try out all of my stupid ideas and do just whatever silly idea I have in my head, and it's going to be just a really cool cyberpunk car. What else? The Miata. You could call that a restoration, but that's mostly done at this point. The car's so easy to work on. All it really needs is paint and a new steering wheel and a couple of odds and ends here and there. And this thing, that Miata, can I'll probably sell it for whatever I can. It's not worth what I put into it. It's not at all. The Jeep, it's worth a little bit of money, but it has a salvage title, so that works against it. And just really, out of everything I have, needs by far the most amount of work. And that means I gotta make room for it. I already have the Maverick down in storage. I really can't afford to take more cars down to storage. So I have to come up with a plan and think about which cars I'm getting rid of. And I have to put things in line and order my projects in order of what can I get rid of first. Over the next year, I think I need to get rid of the Maverick. As cool as that car is, I don't need a Maverick and a Camaro. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of work on that, and we're gonna do some videos together on it, but I'm gonna have to get rid of that car, unfortunately. Next up, I have to decide if I want to keep my Jeep or if I want to keep this S10, which is going to mean fixing up that S10. We'll see how it goes. I need to fix both of them up and then sell one of them. Beyond that, the Miata is going to go once my wife gets a new car. And then after that, I'm going to be down to a reasonable number of cars. I do really want to buy an S2000, but I need to get all of my cars working, which means this needs to just have basic functionality. I need to be able to drive this around my my wasteland, and then I can think about getting another car. But right now, I'm at absolute max capacity. I'm beyond capacity. I have a problem. I have a serious problem. God help me. So this has been the tour of my grandma's 1976 Camaro Rally Sport, lost to time for 30 years and recovered and back in my possession. I have to say, special shout out to Craig. I don't know if he's ever going to watch this. He's not a technology kind of guy, but if he happens to stumble on this, or if the guy living in his house happens to stumble on it, Rich, thank you, Craig. Thank you, Rich, for helping us out too. That was very, very cool. I am very, very grateful, beyond words, for how this all turned out. And make no mistake, this project is going to take years. The idea is that I'm going to put time and money and labor into it. I'm going to get it running and driving and reliable and a really, really great car. But I'm not going to focus too much on aesthetics. So obviously I'm going to need to address some of the interior, because if this is going to be a car to drive, then it has to have seats. So there's some things that I'm going to do in regards to interior fit and finish kind of thing, but I'm going to leave that mostly to my brother. And so when I'm done with it mechanically, and I have, maybe I'll shoot a coat of clear on this to preserve the paint as it is. And then once it's running and driving, I'm going to give it out take it out to Texas to my brother, and he's going to work on it with my nephew, and they're going to enjoy it for a while. And this is really going to be a family thing. This is going to be a car that brings the family together, because this is just as legendary to him as it is to me. And in fact, I think he even likes this car more than I do. And it's also going to fit really well with how I want my channel to progress, how I want to bring things in and out of my garage. I want this car to stay in the family forever. I don't know that I necessarily want it in my garage forever. So this is going to be a great way to motivate me to change up my collection over time. So with that, next video, we're going to start getting to work. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, like, share, subscribe, comment. And if you don't like what you see, don't thumbs down my video. I mean, come on, who does that? That's not cool, man. If you don't like what you see, leave a comment. Let's talk about it, because there's a lot of cool stuff here. And if you are a Chevy or Camaro enthusiast, if you have resources that maybe I should look into to getting this thing back on the road, definitely leave a comment. I want to hear from you, because I know pretty much nothing about Chevys. I mean, I know the basics, I know the general stuff, but I've never gotten in the weeds with a classic Chevy like this before. So let me know if there's anything I should look out for, if there's any resources I should look up, if there's anywhere I should go for parts, replacement parts, rebuild parts, things like that. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where we are going to make this less crappy.